Hi everyone, this is part two of how to create a couch with tufting and piping. I'm going to go ahead and fine tune a couple of things that we did in the last video here. In the last video we created pretty much the main surface of this couch that we are creating. I'm going to go back to my left view and let's do some fine tuning. So let's go ahead, and I have my spacing of my grid at 1 inch. And every 10 inches is going to be a major line. So up here we have 20. But the height of this chair is actually, or at least the arms are 24 inches. So that's where I'm going to go ahead and use this grid to get the correct height. So I'm going to go ahead and grab these vertices here, and I'm going to move them up to 20 right here. And I'm going to go ahead and count up 1, 2, 3, and 4 is the correct height of this chair. Actually, I'm wrong. I'm going to go ahead and bring it down to 20 because I forgot to compensate for the height of the legs of this chair. So actually what I could do, just to keep it a little bit easier, let's go ahead and put it up to 24. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So now we know that's the correct heights. So we're at 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, and 31. It is the top of the chair itself. So let's count that again. So we have 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, and 31. I'm going to go ahead and move this guy forward a little bit just so it looks correct. Yeah, let's go ahead and move these guys forward a little bit. And that's looking a little bit better. So we also have this angle in here for our chair, so something like that. But actually I'm going to go ahead and move these guys up a little bit because I have to count in for the height of this chair. So maybe let's bring it up to, say, I don't know, right about there looks good. So that's where our framing is going to go. Alright, so now that we have that down, let's go ahead and work on the actual cushion itself. So to create the cushion, I'm going to go ahead and just use a regular box to do it. So I'm going to go to Create, Box, and I'm also going to use this button called Auto Grid. So what Auto Grid's going to do is it's going to allow me to place the cushion right on top of the sofa itself. So I'm just going to place my Auto Grid right in this corner here, and it's going to go ahead and click and drag, and you can see that it creates it right on top of this chair. I'm going to go into wireframe just so I can see it right about there. And let's go ahead and raise that up a little bit to right about there. Alright. If I wanted to get really technical with this guy, I could try to figure out, where exactly 17 inches. So I know this is 10. This guy's going to be 20, so 19, 18, 17. So actually, I have it right on the dot. Alright, so we have that in there. Let's go ahead and go to our Modify. Now with this couch, again, it's going to be tufted, so we need to figure out how many squares we're actually going to need. If we went and looked at some more reference, view image file, I'm going to go grab my other image here. We can see that we have 4 squares that go back, and then we have 13 that go across. So we're going to need to add those segments in there to compensate for those squares. So that's how we're going to do this. I'm going to go ahead and minimize this guy. Actually, I'm just going to go ahead and close it. So like I said, we need 13. So I'm going to go ahead and add in my segments, and I'm going to minus 1. So let's go ahead and do that real fast. So 13. And I believe it's actually 14 when you work with these segments here. Just count this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That's right. And we do what? Going back, we had 4. So now we have our 4 squares here. Alright, so we're all set. So now we can go ahead and start the creating the tufting. I'm going to go ahead and isolate this guy just so I can work with it by itself. I'm going to go ahead and hit Alt-Q together just so we can isolate this cushion. And let's go ahead and show you how to create the tufting. So I'm going to go ahead and right click, convert to editable poly. And I need to create the tufting by going to vertex mode. So I need to make those little holes using the vertices that we have here. So I'm going to go ahead and select all those vertices in the top view. I'm just going to go ahead and minimize this guy. Select those vertices. Now when I select these vertices from the top view, it's actually going to also select the ones on the bottom. I don't really need those guys. I don't want it to make any mistakes later on, so I'm just going to go hold down Alt and delete these guys. Alright, and to create the tufting, I'm going to my perspective so I can see a little bit better. We're going to do a chamfer. So I'm going to go to chamfer, and now you can see that we have these kind of little holes here, or squares. And I'm just going to, this is where the hole's going to be for this tufting. I'm just going to say something like about right there, 3/4 of an inch. And I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. So now that we have these guys, what we're going to want to do is take these squares that we just created and extrude them down, and that's what's going to help create that actual tufting. To make it easy on myself, with these guys still selected, I'm going to go ahead and right click, and inside of the quad menu under Tools 1, we have this thing called Convert to Faces. Now it didn't work the way I wanted it to. I was hoping what it was going to do is select these guys automatically. So unfortunately, manually, I'm just going to have to go ahead and select all these guys manually. So just bear with me real fast. I'm just going to go ahead and select these guys. Just give you a little bit of time. And let's go ahead and pause this, and then we'll go ahead and continue with it. Alright, and I'm back, and I just went ahead and selected all these guys. So once you have all these new little squares selected, what you're going to do is come to extrude. And of course, that's obviously not what you're going to want to do. You're going to want to extrude these guys down. So I'm going to go into wireframe just so I can see a little bit better. And I'm going to extrude these guys down maybe an inch, maybe a half an inch. Let's just say half an inch for now. And hit OK. Next, what we're going to want to do is collapse these little tiny squares so they're all one point. So I'm going to go ahead and right click, and I'm going to come to collapse. So when I collapse, all these polygons are going to turn into one vertex, as you can see here. So just so we can see what it looks like so far, that's what we have. So if I were to add a mesh smooth right now, you can kind of get an idea of what we're going with this. I'm going to go to my modify list and just do a mesh smooth or a turbo smooth. So you can kind of see that we have our little indents in here. I'm going to go ahead and increase the iterations so you can kind of see that we have our indents. But in our picture, we actually have some lines that kind of go through here. So we need to add those lines now. I'm going to go ahead and delete this mesh smooth now. So to create those lines, we're going to go ahead and select our edges, or at least one edge. I'm going to select this edge as well, and I'm going to go ahead and do a loop. I forgot to select these guys, so let's do a ring first so I can get everybody, and a loop. So now everybody's selected. I don't need these bottom guys, so I'm just going to go ahead and deselect all of those, as well as I don't need these side ones. So let's just go ahead and deselect those. I'm going to go ahead and pause it. And what you get is this. Okay. So once we have that, we're going to go ahead and do another extrusion with our lines instead now. So I'm going to go to my extrude settings. And we can see that that's obviously not something we want. So let's go ahead and zero out these settings. And I'm going to go ahead and extrude the height. Go into wireframe so you can see a little bit better. And I'm going to go ahead and increase the base. Something like that. So now that's what's going to create those kind of indents that meet at the center. So I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. And now if I went back and edit my mesh smooth, looks a little crazy here. We're going to have to come back and refine these corners, but if I go ahead and increase the iterations, you can kind of see what we're going with. Let's go ahead and render that out. So you can kind of see where this is going right now. So I'm going to come back and we're going to refine this and make it look a little bit better.